Hi, guys. Welcome to this episode of Let's Chat Live. I am part of your host, BriP0e from Let's Chat Podcast, and I have a super special guest host today. It's Dawn from Game On, a sports podcast for everyone.
What is going on, guys? I feel like I'm here way too much, but I love it. So I'm extremely happy to be here, especially for this particular episode. And I think you're going to find out why.
Right. And we're excited. We're so excited. And we're unfortunately the other Chris's, Chris Fravel and Chris Ball, weren't able to make it tonight. And so we were like, who could we call? Dawn. And guess who we have today? Everyone's favorite. You know a little bit about Disney. These girls know a lot about Disney. I'm going to bring on Nicole and Caroline from Defining Disney podcast. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Oh,
Thank you so much for being here tonight. We're so excited. Your name just comes up in conversation like every day.
Really?
We love it.
That's
Chris
awesome.
Fravel loves you guys. It's
Aw.
it's unreal.
We love him too. We really appreciate the way you guys have kind of adopted us.
We love
we're
you
really
guys.
excited to be here.
You're part of the community. And Don is like a huge fan. I asked him if he could guest host with me. He's like, wait, for Disney? Really? I'll do it. There was no second guess or he was just like, I'm in. So
yeah, it's my
Love that.
I'm the resident Diz nerd in my house. So
yeah. Paula looks like Don tonight. What's going on?
I'm less New Englandy
A
than
little
Paul.
less New Englandy.
Little accent.
A little
there.
more Italian.
Hey, we love that around here.
We do.
There you go.
But let's get started. Where are you guys? Well, okay. Before, where are you guys from? Disney fans. Have you guys always been Disney fans, or
Oh, yeah.
were you born into it?
Yeah, from the womb. I know that I've lived in Florida my whole life. I started in South Florida, and we actually moved to the Central Florida area when I was 9 because my dad got a job with Disney. And that was like the dream job for my dad at the time. So being able to move to Central Florida and being surrounded by Disney all the time because that's where he worked, it was really ingrained in our lives. And I really shot high as a child. My dream job was to be a Disney lifeguard. And at 18, that's what I ended up doing as my first job during summers and breaks during college. So it's always been part of me.
Aw.
Same. It's kind of funny because that was never my dream, but that's what ended up happening. I grew up in Virginia and with a very Disney-loving family, particularly my mom. My parents are Disney Vacation Club members and have been since pretty much day one. And so by the time I was 19, which is when I started working for the company, I had been 15 times.
Wow.
And I started going when I was 2. So there was only 2 years in there that I didn't go. So yeah, Disney's been pretty much in me since birth, and I have a cat complaining that there's not a lap available for her. I'm sorry. You'll probably see her throughout my frame.
Please
It's
tell me
fine.
the name is Figaro.
No,
Okay.
the cats do not have Disney names, surprisingly enough. This is Dara.
Hi, Dara.
She's very upset that I have a new job that keeps me away from home 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And so she does not get enough mommy time.
Oh my gosh. You don't know who this is. Facebook user. Hello. Thank you for being with us tonight. So do you guys, how did you guys meet? One's from Florida, one's from Virginia.
Surprisingly at Disney.
Shocking.
Disney's our main connection. Yeah.
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 So long story short, Nicole's husband, Kevin, who's also our producer and editor, and I worked together as lifeguards at Disney's Yacht and Beach Club resorts. He was my trainer when I came back to the company for my second internship after graduating college. I intended to move to Orlando permanently, and so Kevin was like, oh, it's safe to be friends with you because you're not going to leave. If a lot of interns leave and you get really sad because you make friends with all of them and then you don't get to hang out with them anymore after 6 months to a year. But I was going to stay. And so Kevin was like, okay, we can be friends, and basically adopted me.
Yeah, my husband is really good at making friends and like bringing in strays. So people that want to have friends or, want to get more involved in Orlando activities or what have you, he will find somebody and bring them home and be like, hey, I made a new friend. I've vetted them already. Do you want to meet my wife? And that's how I met Caroline, was through my husband. And it's kind of been like a family ever since. It is like the adopted little sister thing where she's just kind of stuck around, and we're happier,
You
that
can't
we
get rid
have
of
her.
me now.
Yeah, we can't get rid of her now. And we actually, Caroline's husband is actually our friend from our freshman year of college, and we actually got them to meet each other, and we're responsible for that relationship. So
You're responsible for it?
Completely responsible, 100%.
Yeah.
They set up our first meeting. They both talked us through as we were like liking each other but didn't want to say anything. And then when they both knew that like, okay, they just need to get together already, we all four went out to dinner, and then they were like, okay, we're going to go up to the buffet and get dessert. You two sit down and have this adult conversation that you need to have.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
Simple.
Was it awkward?
No.
They're just perfect
No,
and casual.
big brother and big sister. That's kind of the way that it is.
That's all.
Yeah. So, we got to help with setting up the proposal, talking her off the ledge because it was taking Steven too long. And we were there for the actual engagement, which was really nice. My husband got to photograph it and everything.
All our photos. He did the photos of the actual engagement. He did our engagement photos that were for our wedding announcements and everything. And Kevin was best man and Nicole was matron of honor. So it was, they have been there through every step of our relationship. Hi, Vern.
Vern and Dawn.
I just go by Chris tonight, I guess. That's fine.
Just
embrace
You're
it.
not Chris.
Your substitute, Chris.
All right, I'll take it.
That's so sweet. How did you guys decide you wanted to do? Did you guys know about podcasting before, or what made you decide to do a podcast? And second, obviously about Disney.
So this is kind of a funny story. We got the idea for this whole let's objectively grade Disney movies and give them, scientific scores on a rubric, like 4 years ago. I think we were all just sitting around your house, Nicole, eating dinner, and I think we watched Aladdin, and we were after the movie, we were all getting into kind of a discussion of, okay, why is this movie so objectively good, but it doesn't get the love that a lot of the Renaissance movies get? People gush about Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and Little Mermaid, and we were like, well, I mean, Aladdin might be underrated, but it's still really freaking good. And it got a lot of love when it first came out. And so we started thinking of like all the things that make it good and like objectively why it's a good movie. Our first version of the rubric was kind of a mess. It didn't add up to 100 points.
Yeah, it was out of 200 originally because we were doing like whole points only. And when we did finally come back to it, it was one of those things where it was originally going to start as like a blog and watching movies, kind of going through them and applying the same rubric. And it got shelved because, life. And when we got into quarantine time in 2020, we were like, okay, well, we need something to do now, because we're not doing anything. And
I was out of work for 6 weeks because so it wasn't that I was out of work. I was still getting paid. I was very blessed during the initial quarantine period that Starbucks said, if you don't feel comfortable coming to work, stay home, we'll pay you. I had just moved back up here to Virginia. I had 1 week at my new store before they were like, yeah, we're closing this store. We can't staff it in the district. And I was like, I don't know anybody. I don't want to go to a different store. I'm just going to stay home. And I was lucky enough to be able to do that. But I was sitting at home for 6 weeks going, what do?
Oh, no.
So she picked it up and she was like, hey, remember this idea we had years ago? let's expound upon it. Like, let's do it live. Like, let's resurrect it and put it out for the world to see. And we were talking about, the best way to use it, because we had talked about Tumblr a little bit. We had talked about Twitter. We just weren't really sure the best avenue for it. And since Caroline had some time on her hands, we ended up landing on a podcast, because that was the best way to still have the structure that we have for our show, but still give it some life organically and distribute it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And knowing that now that you're both huge Disney fans and love everything Disney, worked at Disney, just the whole kit and caboodle, like on the podcast, do you guys mainly just talk, Disney movies, or do you talk about the parks, having that, you guys have experience there, talk about like Disney Plus original series, things like that, or is it strictly like Disney movies, Disney cinema, all that?
Right now, we're focused on the animated canon to start and scoring the animated canon. But we do have a special place inside of our podcast where we talk about continued usage. It's not just about how well you did at the box office, but what's your longevity look like for your show or for your movie? So we talk about, what does park presence look like? What are we talking about with marketing? What are we talking about with the whole princess setup? Did you get added to the official list of Disney princesses? And we talk about video games. We talk about
remakes.
Remakes, live action, TV shows, all of that. We haven't gone into the full, universes as they were. Like for Lion King, there's a whole bunch of expanded universe for them, but we're hoping to expand upon it in the future.
Awesome. And I believe Vern at Cinema Recall, he had a question. He was asking if you're going to cover live action Disney movies as well, such as Tron, Watcher in the Woods, The Parent Trap, Adventures in Babysitting, and so on and so forth.
All good choices. We plan to do some bonus episodes on some live action films as part of the Ko-fi membership that we're launching come the new year. But we are not planning to do those, at least for a very long time, on the main show, as we have 58, soon to be 59 films to cover in the animated canon.
Absolutely. And talking just strict animated, I wanted to get you guys' thoughts, because I've been kind of 50-50 on them. But what are you guys' thoughts on some of the live action remakes of the classics that have come out? That's a
we have some opinions.
Mulan comes out on Friday for watching for everybody.
Oh yeah, for everyone.
We'll be watching.
We will. We did not pay the $30 for the early access.
Oh my gosh, no.
No, so I think our main thing with the live action movies is that they don't add any value to the story 9 times out of 10. Most of them are just a shot-for-shot rehash. The music is most of the time not done as well. And a lot of the additional music is really strange. Like, for instance, Beauty and the Beast, they wrote an entirely new song where there was already a song that goes there in the Broadway version that is gorgeous, like Tony Award winning gorgeous, and they chose not to use it, and I don't understand why.
I think that's my biggest gripe for the live actions, especially the ones that have had a Broadway presence. Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin. You didn't have to think outside of the box with extra music. You had Tony Award winning music at your disposal, and you didn't use it. And honestly, one of the biggest issues that I had was in Beauty and the Beast. There's a song called Home, where after Belle is locked into the tower, she's contemplating why she's there. Why is this, prison somewhere where I have to be forever? And all the live action remake did was sample it as an instrumental in the background. And that's just so infuriating to me, because it's a beautiful song, but they also didn't pick an actress that had the vocal chops to do it. So they put themselves, they put themselves between a rock and a hard place.
That's right. Hardee's.
Yeah. I mean, I've been 50-50 on the live action stuff too. I think my favorite one that they've done so far, because I think it transitioned well, was Aladdin.
Oh
Other,
yeah.
I don't, and I don't know how you ladies feel about it. I don't want to get yelled at. I
Yell at
think
him.
It's certainly not the worst one.
Yes.
I think it's better than, in my opinion, than some of the other ones they've done. I didn't like Lion King.
I didn't see that.
I just, you can't take away. Lion King is an animated movie. They're animals. Like, I don't want to watch a CGI movie. It's the same thing in retrospect, if you think about it. It's all animation at the end of the day. So they're just making it 18, 19 version of what was in the 90s. It doesn't translate for me.
No,
No.
I totally get that, and that's part of why I don't think either of us saw it. Did we, Nicole?
Yell at him. But I mean, he's right. He's not wrong.
No, he's not.
No, I mean, I think that they're fine to watch once, but I don't think that they have that replay value, which is, it's a Disney movie. That's why we love them, is because they're able to be watched over and over and over and over and over again.
They're supposed to be timeless.
And you're supposed to love it every time. You're supposed to find, something new to love. And yeah, I agree. Animals not having emotion ruined it. You just slapped CGI.
Jungle
For
Book.
sure.
Jungle Book was pretty good.
They remade a lot of Jungle Book. Like they had the Skarsgård guy in it. Was it?
Mhm.
Or that was good.
They had some real scary ones. They had a real scary one too, like some almost like a horror one. I forget what
Dumbo.
Oh, I haven't seen that either. I am just
The
want to
Tim
go
Burton
there.
Dumbo, I did not understand from concept to production. Didn't get it.
I was talking Jungle Book, but yeah,
Oh.
I didn't understand. I didn't
Jungle Book
understand.
was kind of scary at parts,
It
yeah.
was, yeah.
It's one of those things where, like I said, and I wanted to ask this question because you guys seem to have more, hand on the pulse of this stuff, and I've never, even Aladdin for me, you can't replace Robin Williams as the genie. You just can't do it.
No. Okay, here's my thought on this, right? You can never replace Robin Williams. He's an icon. But you can come up with a decent replacement that can still embrace that love and spirit that Robin Williams had. And that was the main hurdle for them when they brought it onto Broadway, because you still have to embrace all that personality, all that love, all that joy that he brought to the character. So that's why they cast someone like James Iglehart, because you can find that person. You have to think out of the box though. And Iglehart was able to embrace what we loved about Robin Williams' portrayal of the genie, but also put his own twist on it, because you can't do a carbon copy of it. You're never going to be Robin Williams. You can be the best genie as James L. Iglehart.
He's amazing. If you haven't ever seen a video of his performances as the genie in Aladdin, the Broadway version,
do it.
You go YouTube it right now, and then come back and watch, because he is amazing.
A treasure. Yeah,
We'll
he's an
have to
absolute
put
treasure.
a link in it. You'll have to share a link with us so you can share it.
For
so people
sure.
can see the magic. I like the new song that they added for Aladdin, the Jasmine song. I mean, it was completely different, and I wasn't expecting it. I was like, what the hell is this? This isn't Aladdin. But I appreciate what the song stood for. And she's pretty.
So I do appreciate that they gave her more agency. For me, it was the fact that they went and gave her a song, and then they made it an imaginary sequence. She didn't actually do anything about it in real life. Mm-hmm. And her whole song was about taking back her agency, and then she didn't do it. So it felt very contradictory to me personally.
Damn, you're right.
I know.
Now we have to
throw this. It's actually not my idea. That is an idea that I got from watching a YouTube video. At this point, I don't even remember which one, because I'm pretty sure Nicole sent it to me.
It was probably Sideways. There's a lot of really great. There's a lot of really great YouTubers that will talk about music theory, and there's one video in particular that we'll definitely link out where they talk about why the music in these live action sequels or live action remakes is just not as good. And Sideways does a really good job of explaining it. And it's just never going to have the heart that the originals had. I do think that Jasmine song is one of the better songs that they created for the live action remakes.
Agreed.
But when you start picking it apart, which is basically our job on our podcast, that's when it starts to falter.
Are you guys able to enjoy these films if you're like picking it apart and stuff? Because my husband's he works in theater, so whenever he watches a movie or like a live show, he's like, I don't know, that lighting is off and everything. Are you guys still able to enjoy what you're watching?
For me, I think the answer is yes, and more so when I'm scoring it well. When I'm able to comment good things about it, I enjoy it more, and honestly, I enjoy it even a little more than if I were just watching it, because I'm getting all of the little subtle things that they did right.
Yeah, I think that there's an opportunity to enjoy it more when you're looking for particular things. I really like the research that we get to do afterwards when we're like listening to the soundtrack on its own and finding leitmotifs for, certain characters. But I would agree with Caroline that when you're watching one of the ones that we know is going to be objectively worse, it is harder. Now, there are some films that we subjectively love, but we didn't score well. I would say Robin Hood is going to be, the easy example on this one. Robin Hood does not hold up in the rubric, but subjectively, it's very nostalgic for us and we enjoy it.
It's one of my top 3 favorites subjectively, because that was the movie I watched like every time I was sick as a kid. But I mean, I'm going to be adding an interactive infographic to our website here in the next couple of days. So you can see how we score each movie that we've scored so far, including the ones that we haven't released episodes for yet. And Robin Hood we have released, so you can go listen to that. It's episode 6, and it scores like down in the 50s, I'm pretty sure.
It's
that's one of those like guilty pleasure ones for me. Like even at 37 right now, like I'll go and like I'll watch it, or if I can find it. It's Disney Plus now, but I mean, I like all those like lower end ones because I think they're just as good. Like for me, I like Disney movies. I like the way I can't sit there and pick them apart, so to speak. There are certain things that I dislike about them. There are certain plot points that I dislike about them, but to me, it's all about nostalgia. So I'll sit there and I'll watch like an old Disney movie that I haven't watched in a while, like sit there and watch like the Aristocats or something like that and be like, yo, this is like when I was like 5 years old. Like, this is great. Like, you know what I mean? So it brings you back to that point.
We're releasing Aristocats later this month.
Oh, we recently watched that too with the kids.
For sure. So, yeah, I mean, Disney. Now, there was a question that was asked in the chat. Now, with all the movies in your roster that you're doing, does Disney Pixar count towards that? Do you count Star Wars? Would you be doing? Is that something that I was curious about that as well? Because I mean, yeah, like you said, Disney buys a lot of stuff. So technically, they're all Disney movies at this point. But are you just on the main, like, this was a Disney movie before Disney decided to become the empire? So, like, what, is that what you're doing, or are you going to expand eventually, or, is that the plan, or?
The long-term plan is definitely to expand. There is a finite number of Walt Disney Animated Studios canon films, so eventually we will run out of content just sticking to that. So yes, Pixar is definitely our next step after that. We've talked about Marvel and Star Wars as possibilities too. We may start discussing some of those sooner in bonus content, just because we really enjoy them, and we know a lot of people are looking for those movies in terms of our scoring and our rubric, but we'll see.
What do you think about the Soul movie? Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're
what
fine.
do you think about the Soul movie coming out?
I'm really excited, actually. I've seen some some initial thoughts from, reviewers and things that have seen the movie. And I mean, Pixar knows how to pull at your heartstrings. So right off the bat, you know that it's going to, impact you deeply on an emotional level. And I'm excited because it reminds me it's kind of in the same vein as Inside Out. And I really loved Inside Out. I thought that whole concept was so pure and so innovative that I think that it's leading me, and it's in that similar direction of looking at something on like a deeper level, more like an internal level. And I'm looking forward to it.
Same. I know that a lot of people are bummed because it is not getting a theatrical release. It's only being released on streaming, which is unfortunate, particularly because it is.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it's only coming to streaming.
That's what they said about Croods too, but now it's just in theaters, so maybe it'll
that was a weird switch that I saw in terms of animation film Twitter.
There's a lot of drama around that one, though. There's the theaters and studios have really gone back and forth on what should be released in theaters, what needs to be held. I mean, we've seen some movies just get pushed and pushed and pushed because the studio is just hell bent on releasing it in theaters because that's where the money is. Let's all be honest. So,
Black Widow has been pushed back basically a full year at this point.
Woman, Black Widow.
Wonder Woman actually just announced that they are releasing simultaneously to theaters and streaming later this month.
Yeah, Christmas Eve or Christmas Day.
It's going to be on HBO Max.
Yeah, on HBO Max.
So if you don't have HBO Max, that might be a reason to get it. If you're a Wonder Woman fan, I didn't have a whole lot of reason to care about HBO Max, but then I also found out that that's where West Wing is going, and I'm a huge West Wing fan.
Oh my gosh, you and my husband.
So we're probably getting an HBO Max subscription. We might just mooch off my brother for a little while, though. He has
a Roku, and HBO Max isn't compatible with it yet, so that's obnoxious.
Yeah,
HBO Max really screwed up the streaming game a little bit because they just weren't available on enough platforms. Now, if you do have like a smart TV where you can stream stuff to it, you can go that route as well. But I don't understand. I just don't feel like there was enough forethought for it.
It felt kind of rushed.
Yeah.
We're a little heartbroken that The Office is leaving Netflix, so now we have to get a subscription to Peacock because that's our filler show. It's on.
It's going to Peacock.
It's leaving on December 31st, and it's going to Peacock. And we're like,
we've talked about getting Peacock purely because of Psych. That's one of our favorites here in the house.
But yeah,
I watched the entire Brave New World series in like one day because it was on Peacock for free. So I was okay. It was interesting. I mean, Brave New World as a concept in general is very mature, and it's very, it's very much dystopian society. So there are a lot of mature themes and a lot of very uncomfortable themes. But I thought overall it was pretty good, and I love the book. As much of a weirdo it is to say that, I definitely love that book. But it was nice seeing. It's nice seeing that universe expanded upon and getting more context for it, even though like it is very dystopian.
Cool, that's cool. I will say, going back a little bit, when you guys do decide to do any of your Star Wars one, I would love to try to be a part of that. I am a huge Star Wars fan. My basement looks like, George Lucas threw up in it. So
you might have to fight our husbands for those guest spots, but there are plenty to go around. There's 9 whole movies.
It's 9.
There is.
Plus Rogue One, which we will
plus
definitely
Rogue One
cover.
And Solo. So at least 11, and then you have Mandalorian, and
We're not going to get started on Solo. We're not going to.
No, we don't really talk about Solo around here, but we do talk about Rogue One.
We also don't talk about Episode 9.
Solo is the only Star Wars movie that I have not seen more than once.
Really?
Yeah, same.
In the theater, and I'll never watch it again.
Oh, wow.
Same. I only saw it the one time in theater. I haven't picked it up since. It's just
I can't.
It's not for me. I wish it were.
He's my favorite character in any Star Wars realm of anything, and they completely ruined it, and it ticked me off. I wanted to leave the theater early. My wife wouldn't let me.
See,
couldn't do
there
it.
were parts of it for me that redeemed it, particularly Donald Glover as Lando Calrissian, because he
I love
did
him.
an expert job, and he
voice was
looks the
Yes,
great.
he
part,
did.
and he's just. I also just
Beautiful.
love Donald Glover, like
I
as a
love
person.
him.
Yeah,
No,
Right?
he's great.
He's
great.
good in that respect, and he did play a great young Lando. His voice sounded the part. It was fantastic, but I don't know. It
There
was just
wasn't
one,
enough in the film to redeem it,
you need
in
you
my
need.
opinion.
They should have just left Solo alone. Just his mystique and everything about him and how he got to where it was. Leave it. He's Han Solo. He's the coolest dude in the galaxy. Leave it alone. You don't got to go about it. There's so many other characters they could have done. But
Yeah, let him.
hey,
Sorry, Don.
I get opinionated at Star Wars. I got
Nah, it's okay. We're all opinionated here. That's why we have podcasts.
There you go.
That's why we
There you
have
go.
a rubric.
So,
Yeah.
so one of the questions I had that I wanted to ask you guys, since you're big, obviously Disney films, everything. Who is your favorite Disney sidekick out of all the Disney animated movies? Who is your favorite Disney sidekick?
I think I know Nicole's answer.
What do you think my answer is?
Kronk.
Kronk is a good one.
He's cute.
But that's my favorite movie, not necessarily my favorite
That's fair.
sidekick. He
That's
does
fair.
have some of the best one-liners, and as a character, he's just objectively one of the best. That episode is coming out soon too, which thank goodness.
Next week. Get excited.
I would say my favorite sidekicks, though. I really love the whole Atlantean team. If they're considered sidekicks, I think that they have so much personality and so much character, and you get such a diverse look at them. I think that I would choose them. If we have to go like super traditional sidekick, I would say maybe Abu and Carpet in Aladdin.
Okay.
Aw.
See, I like Eddie Murphy, so I like Mushu.
Mushu's
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
a good
Mushu's
one.
great.
Great.
Yeah.
I think he's great, but I mean that's just mine. There's so
I mean,
many from.
Mushu's a great choice, and of the episodes we currently have aired, Mulan still holds the top spot.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's good. And Mulan too. I think Flounder is just a good friend. Like he even
I
knows
love
that King
Flounder.
Triton, you know. Like,
Flounder
he
and
even
Sebastian are some quality choices. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, gosh, my favorite sidekick. This is a really off the wall choice, and it's completely sentimental for purposes that are probably too long to explain. But Charlotte LaBeouf in Princess and the Frog.
Wow.
She is not your stereotypical dumb blonde Southern belle. She has a lot of those qualities, but when it comes down to get the guy or be a friend, she chooses to be a friend.
Yes, she does.
She sticks by her best friend, and that is very special and important to me.
That's what you need. That's what a friend's for. You're so right. I'm not ready for this. Oh my goodness.
Sorry, we're gonna throw you off, Bree.
There's not a single wrong
Don't
answer
look
though.
at me.
No, I
Oh
don't.
yeah, there's so many good choices throughout the
Mhm.
canon.
I think they all have their good qualities. They're all awesome. I mean, it's all fun. I mean, they all have good characters, especially in the original films. I figured you guys would have a favorite, so that's why I wanted to ask it. Is just have a little fun with that and see what your answers were.
Those are good ones.
Yeah,
What's your
kind of
favorite
mom.
episode that you did on your podcast?
Jesus.
Oh gosh, that's a great question.
Take over, Dawn.
I feel like me personally, I really enjoy the ones where we have guests on because we get kind of a different perspective that's outside our usual line of thinking. Because Nicole and I are often very much on the same wavelength and we're looking for the same sorts of things a lot of the time. But a guest, especially when it's not one of our husbands, will bring a totally new perspective to it. So Mulan, Little Mermaid, Frozen, and we're getting ready to have BriP0e on, you guys. We're recording
Yes.
Brother Bear this
Brother
weekend with
Bear.
her. Very exciting.
She's gonna cry.
I might.
That's okay.
I get so into it, and like
Brother
I'm
Bear has some
empathetic.
moments.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah, it can get pretty tear jerky at a certain
Heavy.
point.
I mean, we have a whole category called feels factor. So like,
Well,
Yeah.
I got the feels. I'm gonna bring it. Oh my god.
I'd have to say that my favorite episode that we've recorded so far. Oh, that's a tough one.
is it only the ones we have out, or is it the ones we've recorded?
Oh, well, do we get a sneak preview of what's coming out soon?
You might.
Okay.
We can.
Because I have a
we
sneaking
can-
suspicion Nicole might want to talk about the one we're releasing next week.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it is next week, so it's
Yes.
close enough.
Yes,
right?
I do. Because the next episode that's coming out is my favorite movie in the animated canon, which is Emperor's New Groove.
So good.
And my younger sibling was able to join us as well. And it's really interesting to hear their thoughts as an adult when we grew up on this movie. It came out in 2000, so they were a toddler when it came out. And I know that all of the antics and all of the frustrations and irritations that we caused my parents for wanting to watch this movie just ad nauseum and quoting it all of the time, and being able to keep those memories as well as bring our more objective thoughts to the podcast at the same time, and getting to hear why they still love that movie after 20 years was really special to me.
Oh, we watched that recently too. And like Kronk, I do my own theme music when I do things. And people are like, "Are you singing?" Yes, I am. I am doing my own theme music right now.
Yes,
and no
I
one
love
ever
my own
gets
theme
that
music.
reference. So it's from Kronk.
We got you.
Yep.
Great. Thank you.
That's one that's underrated in this house for sure. My wife and her sister, I know they enjoy that movie. They always talk about it. So it's one of the ones. Now someone's gonna yell at him, but it's one of the ones that I've actually never seen.
Oof.
Don't-
That's inexcusable.
Yeah, there it is.
That's inexcusable.
It's-
That's one of those
it
that
is.
you have to watch,
So-
because I think that as an adult you can appreciate it a lot more, because the humor is so sarcastic and dry and multi-layered that it's just so good. So
I
good.
love it.
And it's
That's how I
exactly my
hug.
type of humor too. So
Right?
it fits right in line
And I
with
mean-
like everything I am as a person.
It has an all-star voice cast too. I mean, you have David Spade, Patrick Warburton, Eartha Kitt voices Yzma, and John Goodman voices Pacha. Like, there's not a bad one in the entire movie, and the theming is really fun. You get like this weird cross between like modern day humor and jazz music, and then all of the theming around the Latin American culture where it's set. It's like totally off the wall, but it's really fun.
Yeah, I think it
it.
ends up scoring a lot higher than where people traditionally would put it. I won't spoil it too much, but I know that it scores higher than people would think. And I was being objective. It took everything in me to not give it a perfect 100, but it definitely is an extremely good movie, especially considering it's such a short run time. It packs a lot of punch in like 75 minutes.
Yeah.
So
I'll
what are
watch
some of the
I'll watch your episode. Now I'm curious if you're
Yeah,
all
well, watch
watch
it
Friday.
before.
then
Yeah,
then
well-
listen to the episode. It comes out next Wednesday, so you have a week.
got it. I'm in it. I'm on it. My
Got it.
my wife might be watching this right now. I don't know if she is. So
If he's not,
make sure-
yell at him.
yeah, man.
So you guys score all these movies. Which like top 3 have scored the highest in your work?
I can pull that up for us real quick. I know Mulan is currently the winner. If we're talking only movies that we currently have episodes out for, Mulan is currently winning. Followed by
Frozen?
Yeah, Frozen, and
Frozen
then I think
one?
it's Yes,
Frozen
Frozen 1.
1.
We haven't
Yeah.
done Frozen 2 yet. Frozen 1,
And then I think Little Mermaid.
Little Mermaid.
I
Yeah,
do
Little
love
Mermaid is
that
the other one in
movie.
the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mulan
Yes.
has a whopping 90.33.
Mm-hmm.
Frozen
Wow.
locks in at 89 even.
Just
And then
89.
Little Mermaid is 81.33.
Wow.
They're just
If we're
so
talking episodes that we've recorded, last night we finished Lion King, and you are going to want to tune in. It'll be our first episode of the new year, so it'll release the second week of January. We're taking 1 week off for the holidays, but
Nice.
we'll release the second week of January. It's our first episode of season 2, and you are going to want to listen to that one because it is going to crack that top 3 for sure.
Oh,
I'll be there.
dang.
That's one of my favorites.
Wow.
It's like top 3 for me.
It's a good one.
We always watch The Lion Guard too. My son is like, "Can we watch The Lion Guard with Simba?" And just like, I'm really into it. I'm like, well, what happened? Bushubaka. So it's we like that here. My
We
son's
actually
favorite.
we mentioned Lion Guard in our continued usage section.
Oh, so
Bree's
good.
watching the plot points of children's cartoons now. Love it.
There's so many. It's
So-
always the same.
So now I have to ask this because, again, me being a huge
going
Disney fan,
rogue.
now knowing, yeah, I am.
I'm so excited.
Don't kill me. I'm going to get booed probably. Yep, there it is. So we were speaking prior to the episode, and someone had told me that, well, now I know both of you worked at Disney. Caroline, you were a CP like myself. College program, Bree, for those that don't know what that means.
For those that don't know what that means, obviously. It's,
So I was a CP in 2005. Yes, I'm old. So we'll go there. It's fine. But I have to ask about your experience and what you did, because I'm a Diz nerd when it comes to the
Nerd.
parks. I love the parks. I know food. I watch the Disney food blog. I pay too much attention to that because I am a foodie.
There's a
I
Disney
love-
food blog.
Oh yes,
Yes.
And it's delicious.
it is delicious.
Tell me about this.
Shout out to AJ on the Disney food blog. I don't know if you listen to this podcast. You should.
You will now.
But
Puts in work.
he is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I tell you, like, I love the parks. I love going. I feel like at home when I'm there, maybe because I worked there for a while and I lived there. But what was your experience like being a CP and like being able to be there, being such a huge fan and like living it pretty much for, were you there for 6 months?
So I was my first CP. I was there for 6 months. It was the spring semester of my sophomore year plus the summer. I was a lifeguard at Polynesian and Grand Floridian.
Ooh.
I lived in Patterson. Shout out to my Star Command girls. I'm sure none of you are watching because you all live in places where you're probably asleep by now.
Star Command.
That
Love
was what we named our room, our apartment. It was pretty great. I had 5 roommates.
Oh, wow.
So
They
did I.
all worked in various different lines of business. 2 of them in entertainment. One of them is now an Air Force. I don't exactly know what her rank is actually, but she does media for the Air Force. So she's deployed to Germany right now, and she does
Wow.
radio and TV and web stuff for them. Yeah, it's pretty cool. She was friends with Tinkerbell, among many other things. Hi, Megan.
Hi, Megan.
Thank you for your time.
It was kind of a dream because my thought process of applying for the CP was this would be a really cool thing to check off my bucket list. I've been to Disney so many times. I've played tour guide for my friends and my family. You know, I want to go work there, say that I've done it, and then go get a degree in my field and go get a job writing somewhere. Surprise! I fell in love with Disney. I was like, nah, screw the plan. Graduate from school early, go back to Florida. Let's do it.
Yes.
So I graduated a semester early. I did a second CP in spring of 2015 was a
Right.
lifeguard at Yacht and Beach and Boardwalk, where I met Kevin, and thus Nicole, and thus Steven, who is not my husband.
So glad you went back.
I know, right? It's like my entire life
Perfect.
happened because of going back.
Yeah.
Nothing ever happens the way you expect, because originally I had been the plan was I was dating somebody long distance from my first CP, and I was going to go back and be with him. And then while I was still in school, we broke up. And so that then paved the way for all of these wonderful people to enter my life.
Yes.
My second experience was pretty similar. I had a very close apartment. I had 5 roommates, and I lived in Patterson. So I never experienced the whole Vista Way thing.
Oh, no.
That was not my life. I was not a party girl. I was there to work and to Disney.
Dawn's like, I know.
I was not there to drink and party and do that all nonsense.
Good
That's
job,
not the
Diana.
kind of person I am either. So
Dawn, what kind of person were you?
My Jesus, my I was a, do you remember Chatham Square?
mhm.
Oh yeah.
That's where I was. I had 5 roommates as well, including myself. And of course, the guy that was in my room was in performance, and he was a singer, and he'd practice every morning at 7 a.m. in the shower.
Sounds like entertainment.
Oh my God, man. It was the worst thing. He was from Colorado. I told him one day, I was like, dude, you need to go back. Like, you need to
Please leave.
Practicing this.
stop singing at 7 a.m. in the shower. And he would take like his time, because where we lived in Chatham, you could see the bus stop.
Mm-hmm.
So
Oh, dangerous.
he would wait until the bus pulled up, and like a chihuahua on crack,
Run.
on cue, he'd run out the door mid-sentence. Like, he'd be talking to you, and he'd just like right out the door, and I'm like, and you'd see
That's
like these,
great.
it was
Yes.
hysterical. But I lucked out. So I was in package pickup and delivery at Magic Kingdom, right behind City Hall. So I drove a golf cart everywhere. It was great. I used to drive like characters to parade routes and like
Wow.
pick up packages. Like, it was a blast. I had a ball doing it. It was the easiest thing in the world. Like, in the morning, like, I always picked to work morning, so I'd get there in the morning, sit in the back.
Wait, you got to pick?
Well, okay, so
Oh,
I don't know how. So I don't know how I lucked out, honestly, because everyone else besides my actual roommate, who was a performer, got like food
night.
service, like really the worst thing ever you can
Most
do.
CPs
as a
do. They
CP.
either get food service or custodial.
And I have no idea. Don't ask. I was chosen for this.
Connections.
I didn't know anybody there. This was
Some muscle.
Well, so here's my
I got
question.
some
What was
heavy
did you have any jobs before you went to your CP?
I mean, I worked at my family's deli in Michigan when I was going to school. I mean, nothing.
Oh, then I'm really surprised they didn't put you
Yeah.
in food service.
Yeah.
Because if that was on your resume, they would have 99%
Snatched
of
you
recruiters
up.
would have snatched you up. Yeah.
Maybe someone messed up. Good for me. I don't know. But
Best
but
blessing
honestly,
ever.
Right.
It was literally a blast. I mean, I'd pick up shifts because it was so easy. Like, in the morning, there was no packages to pick up till like midday.
Mhm.
So I'd get there, park open, and I'd watch ESPN for the first 3 hours in the back at City Hall and get paid for it.
Mhm.
And it was fantastic. And there were some times where they're like, Don, they need help in strollers. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not doing that.
Strollers.
Strollers are trash.
I
You
have
have
I have
no
a
idea.
friend who did a CP in strollers briefly.
One night I did closing, and it was fun because you get to go around the whole park and pick up strollers, but it's empty and the music is
Mhm.
still playing. So you're just fooling around at Magic Kingdom with no one there. But
I have a funny story about that. Go ahead.
some of the stuff you find in these strollers is really gross.
Sus.
And I was like, never again. Don't ask me to do this. I'm not. Don't even try. But no, I had a blast. It was a lot of fun being there and being being a Disney guy and loving the parks. You learn all kind of like the tricks of the trade. Now, all that has kind of like, I know every park map like the back of my hand, but things
Yep.
have changed since 2005.
Oh yeah.
We're talking 50 years, but the layout of the park has never changed. Yeah, the rides have changed and everything, but you sort of know where stuff is and how to get to stuff, and the tricks of the trade, so to speak, are like,
Oh yeah.
you got to do this, hang out here, go here. And I absolutely love it. Like, I'll go on vacation, and my sister-in-law was a CP as well. And
cool.
I think like 2 years after me or something like that. And so we exchange war stories all the time, but I absolutely, I can't even say war stories. I absolutely had a blast. It actually helped me a lot in life, because you take so much away from traditions, and you take so much away from the classes, especially customer service wise, and like how to interact with people in general. So it's really informative, and you learn a lot of skill sets. Like, I still catch myself, and Caroline, tell me if you do too. You still do the Disney point.
100%.
2 fingers.
Yes.
Everyone does it. There's no way you can't do it.
I mean, I worked there. So after my second CP, I went full time. I was a guard at Yacht and Beach and Boardwalk until the region split, and I was only at Boardwalk. I was a trainer. I was kind of in line for relief coordinator when I got asked to be part of the team to open Pandora,
Nice.
the
Whoa.
Avatar expansion at Animal Kingdom. I went back to food service, which was my very first job ever when I was 16. I worked at Chick-fil-A. So I hadn't worked in foods in like almost 6 years at that point. And no, more than 6 years. I don't remember how long it was. Anyway, it had been a long time since I had touched a register or a hotline with food on it. And I became part of the opening training team for all of the food and beverage locations at Pandora. So I know exactly what you mean when you say everything looks different. I remember going to Camp Minnie Mickey as a kid, watching Festival of the Lion King, and meeting Pocahontas and Minnie and Mickey in their little explorers outfits. And now that whole area is Avatar everything.
Wow.
That's one of my favorite places to eat to, the Satuli Canteen.
That's
That food is great. Yeah, yeah.
Sorry, I'm
It's
just
big.
plugging in my computer.
Oh, yeah.
I
Satuli
opened.
has great food.
I opened that location. My personal favorite food is now no longer there because we used to serve breakfast, believe it or not. Satuli served breakfast and lunch and dinner when it first opened, and the breakfast menu was delicious.
Yeah.
We had a blueberry cream cheese French toast.
Yeah, I sort of remember that.
Yum.
I'm not gonna lie.
It was amazing.
I like that cheeseburger bao bun that they have over there too. And
Lots of people do. It's very popular.
Yeah, see, now we're in a whole different topic now, and I love it.
So hungry
It's still
right now.
Disney. I know.
It is.
You get to talking about Disney food, all bets are off because there's a lot of good stuff to eat at Disney.
I mean, the things I would do for a Dole Whip. No, but I mean,
So, fun fact, several grocery stores are now selling an imitation Dole Whip product. I believe Wegmans.
we don't have those here, but I do know the Froyo place down the road from me, Sweet Frog, has like the actual Dole, like pineapple.
Soft serve, really?
Yeah, they have one, and they have a mango one too. But look, I don't care what you say. It is not the same.
It's not the same.
Unless you wait online, right by the magic carpets, and
Spend $20.
you spend. Yeah, it's not the same. It's not. You eat
So-
it and you go to Indiana and it sucks. You're not at Disney. It's not
Trick
the
of
same.
the trade, which we were talking about. Since I worked at the Polynesian, I know this. The Polynesian is the only place that you can get Dole Whip without a park ticket.
Yep.
And so it used to be you could serve yourself inside Captain Cook's, and you could get as much as you wanted, and as long as it was all in that one cup, you paid the one price.
Whoa, it's a challenge.
They got rid of that when people started abusing it. So
Yeah,
now there is
quickly.
a Dole Whip stand outside at the back of the lobby as you walk out to the lake, and they have several different kinds. You can get, the regular Dole Whip, the vanilla and pineapple. They also have, I think, a lime version right now. They change it seasonally.
Yeah, and then they also have the one with the pineapple upside down cake underneath it.
Mm-hmm. And the one with rum in it.
Yep,
I'll take
that's
that.
the adult one. Yeah. Hey, yeah, I there's just certain things about Disney food. Like they tried it to replicate it. Like we were at the grocery store not too long ago, and they had the Mickey premium ice cream bars.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you open it and you're in your dining room in Indiana, and it's not the same.
Oh,
Well, it's not. It's not.
it's
It doesn't
not.
have the same.
It
It
wasn't
doesn't
10
have
bucks.
the same feel to it, and it's
You're right. It wasn't $10. The whole box probably was.
the whole box was
box was
$10. Yeah. But Disney food and me go hand in hand. I actually just got my last one. I don't know if I'm going to renew or not, but they have what was it? It was a Mickey box that I was getting. I did the snack box. There's a snack box that you can do. There's also a Walt box that you can do, and they send you food from the parks.
What?
Nice.
That's crazy.
Not like what you would think. Like you're not going. You're not getting anything from Amorette's at downtown Disney. Well, Disney Springs. Excuse me.
Springs, yeah.
But I fell in love with that stuff, and then just working there. We were supposed to go this year, and we had to cancel it due to everything.
Aw, I went a couple years ago, and I was lucky enough to grow up overseas. So I went to Disney World in Tokyo and Disneyland in California, and first time in Florida to Disney World. And I like seeing like that park where they have like where all the Disneys are and like different countries and stuff. And
You've been to more than me, so you should be the Disney nerd, not me.
I haven't been as many as Caroline and Nicole. What'd you say?
I
Like
mean-
15 times?
Well,
That's nothing.
I mean, we kind of cheat because we've worked there, but
Yeah.
so my story is my dad got his job with the cruise lines when I was 9, and my mom ended up homeschooling me and my sibling for me it was like 6th grade on, and then my sibling their whole time in school, K to 12. And because we were only in middle school and they were kindergarten, preschool age, we would go twice a week in the afternoons in the middle of the week, just
because that's what you do when you live in
Just to
Orlando.
go
yeah,
to-
just to go. My sibling had a whole lot of energy, so my mom would take us and just run us ragged throughout the parks just to get us to like exhaust ourselves.
That's
So
awesome.
I couldn't honestly tell you how many times I had been to the park as a kid, because that was our playground. That was our backyard. So
Man.
we went all the time.
That's so wonderful because like people are like, we're going to Disney World. It's like this huge thing because like no one can go. Like, well, not many people go like twice a week or something. But do you guys still get the same enjoyment when you go to the parks? Well, pre-COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID, I think that it still holds that same level. It's definitely different because obviously, we're adults now, but there's definitely still that nostalgia factor. And now I can drink. So,
Yes.
that's helpful.
Oh, there you
Very
go.
helpful. And
There you go.
actually, that's where my husband proposed to me, was at the front of World Showcase in Epcot during the Food and Wine Festival. So doing all of our favorite things with all of our friends at the parks. So
Dude, that-
yes, definitely still very special to me, very magical,
Aw.
just in a different way.
Yeah, I mean, I do that. I'm 37 years old, and I went. My first time I took my son, who's 6, and to watch his face as you walk and turn the corner, so he could see the castle, like on Main Street. I don't know. Yeah, I'm a grown man. Yeah, I had a tear in my eye. Sue me. But it was
It's the most magical feeling, getting to watch somebody do that for the first time.
yeah, and it's funny, like when you go, you transform yourself. Like I don't go as much as Nicole or Caroline, how often you
We're
used to
not
go.
that cool.
No, because I mean we don't live there. but you go and you instantly. I know we're old and we could drink now, but you still don't you feel that sense of like you transform, like you feel like there's not anything else going on because you're at Disney and you're just chilling and having a good time and like going on rides and just whatever. Like you feel it's different now. Like it when you were a kid, you felt it, but you feel the same way.
And I think that's really what made working for the Mouse such a good experience. I only worked when it was busy because I was seasonal, and I would work 60, 70-hour weeks for like 8 weeks straight and then go to school full time. And those days were definitely long, and there were plenty of angry people, and there was plenty of rain that would close things down. So there were definitely cons, but when you were able to make magic for someone, or you were able to bring that magic to life, that's what made it worth it. And that's really the benefit of it. I mean, I was a lifeguard too, so I did a safety critical role. So there wasn't a whole lot of talking with people, or there wasn't a whole lot of, that organic interaction. It was a lot of just telling people to stop acting like fools so they didn't hurt themselves. But those times when I did get to make magic were really special to me. The memory that I always have that comes up is when it's so cold we can't open up the water parks. They send all of the people that were scheduled to work to the regular theme parks because they're normally slammed during the holidays, and it's just wall-to-wall people, and they'll take anybody with a pulse, they will take and put them somewhere. And for one weekend, I got to work in front of Kilimanjaro Safari at Animal Kingdom. And all I had to do was stand there at the end of the queue where people first joined the line, told them there were no more fast passes left for the day because they were gone in 5 minutes, and tell people where the bathroom was. That's all I had to do for like 9.5 hours. Wow. But I got to talk to so many different people, and I got to hear people's stories so much. And I had fast passes like on hand. So if I found somebody that, really touched me with their story, or, were first time, Disney people and they'd never been before, and I got to see like the kids' eyes light up and stuff, I was able to get them to the front of the line, which was so cool. But those are the memories that I have that stick out as positives, even though my job for 90% of the time was making sure kids didn't climb on rocks. But that 10% where I got to actually like experience guests and interact with them and build that relationship with people and make that magic happen made it all worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I was disappointed at the fact that I wasn't really customer facing. So it was like, I didn't really get to do that, but I knew a lot of people that did. And I witnessed, the sword in front of the carousel, the Excalibur.
Stone, yeah.
Yeah, one of my people I was friends with at the time, I was walking around the park and they did the ceremony where they let the kid actually lift it up and all that stuff. I'm super happy, and it was cool to watch, even though I wasn't part of it. And I was watching it, but I wasn't, involved. But it's still cool to be able to have that kind of interaction and make some kids, day that much better, or whatever the case may be, because you don't know what they're dealing with at home or what's going on in their lives, and to be able to do that for 5 minutes, that's awesome for me. So it was yeah, Bri, go ahead.
I'm not ready for this. Okay, just a little emotional.
Yeah,
today.
working at Disney, a lot of days you only tell guests no, especially in safety critical roles like lifeguarding. But the days where you get to tell people yes and make magic for them and listen to their stories it makes everything worth it.
That's awesome.
And I have to slide in really quick because we have to kind of talk about what's going on right now with COVID and with the tenuous way that the parks are open in Florida and the way that they're not in California. Disney earlier this year laid off 28,000 between the two parks and the rest of the entertainment division in the US. And then last week, 4,000 were laid off just in Orlando. And today, 11,500 were laid off in Disneyland.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they still open. They still haven't opened in California, like, at all.
So California has opened partially, not operating as a theme park. They're operating as a shopping district. So none of the rides are open, but a lot of cast members were able to go back to work. Obviously, with COVID, the idea would be that everyone would get to stay home and get paid on furlough. Disney was able to do that much longer than most of the other theme parks in Florida and in California, which is amazing. But right after Disney did all those layoffs, they restored executive pay to their full levels. And we can't critically talk about Disney in terms of their content without also critically talking about the company. And that's something that we are very strongly passionate about, especially because we have lots of friends who still work for the company and still work at theme parks and dedicate every day of their lives to making magic for those people. And Disney is systematically eliminating a lot of their positions because some of it due to COVID, but also a lot of it is they're taking this as cover to do some laying off that they've wanted to do for a long time in terms of downsizing the part-time population in the cast member pool.
Yeah, I mean, I know they took away the CP program. I don't know.
They've ended the CP program until further notice, basically. And with COVID, that makes sense.
They're can't keep these kids.
Yeah, especially considering the housing situations, kind of stuffing them as many as will fit into an apartment.
Oh my gosh,
it doesn't make sense in COVID. They're also taking this opportunity to close down all the current CP housing. So they've sold it all back to the Lincoln Property Company that managed it. And they're opening new CP housing over behind Animal Kingdom at Flamingo Crossing, kind of closer to Celebration.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I mean, you feel bad for these people. My uncle was one of the bakers at the Contemporary Resort. He's not there anymore, but he still has a lot of people that he's friends with or that he talks to, and I do as well. That work there, and a couple people got laid off, and you feel bad. And they're doing these things that like to these people. Where my uncle was telling me a story where they called a guy, told him, you're not furloughed, you're just let go. And he had a struggle, find another job. He found something temporary, to help him out. And then they called him 2 days later and is like, yeah, we need you to come back. And he's like, I just drove myself nuts trying to find another job.
Right.
And you told me I was fired. Now you're telling me, well, if you don't report in 48 hours, your job is terminated. Wow. I'm like, dude, wow, okay. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah, I love Disney, the idea and what it is. But if they're doing stuff like that and they're treating people like that in this time, that's not something that's synonymous with what you represent. Let's think about what Disney represents for a second, and then think about how they're treating people during a pandemic that affects everybody. That's it's wrong to me.
It's very important, and I think COVID throws it into sharp relief. But it's very important to humanize the tens of thousands of people that make Disney what it is. We definitely have seen, because of COVID, using it as more of a cover to change the way that they look at their population, their workforce. And even with that in consideration, it's very hard to look at an organization that so many people consider sacred. It's basically your golden ticket if it ends up on a resume and you have some staying power with Disney. I know that my Disney experience and my theme park experience has helped me get into my current career. Seeing that and holding it in such a high regard, when at the same time we have tens of thousands of people that have been laid off, where they're seen as more of a number, where we have hundreds, if not thousands, of cast members that can't afford to live paycheck to paycheck, and they live in hotels in Kissimmee in order to get by. It's really difficult to see the company in the same light when you see both sides now. And we can love Disney for what it does for us, in our feelings, and we can love the animated canon. We can love everything they're putting out. We can love what the company looks like on the surface. But if we do peel back those layers and look at the core, we need some fundamental change. And thankfully, Disney employees are the only theme park employees that are unionized in Central Florida. So they do have a union that can advocate for a path to $15 an hour, a path to a living wage, full benefits. But until we see a company that proactively puts their employees first, it's going to be hard to dismiss everything that we see behind the scenes.
Yeah, and it's a shame because it messes with you. You look at like me and my wife looked at just me and her going this past fall for like 3 days for food and wine, just to go. You know, it wasn't that hot. Yeah, you got to wear a mask, but let's just hang out. We need some time. I need to get the hell out of Indiana. I've been here for way too many months already. And they still have like, they know people are going through stuff. You try to get any kind of package through these guys and look at what they're doing, and they're still asking an astronomical amount of money to go to Disney. And it's like, I want to know when all this is over, who's going to pay? Like, I remember going a couple of years back with the whole group of us. Me and my whole family went. We stayed. We needed 4 rooms at Art of Animation, all this stuff. It was not cheap at all. Who at this point after 2020 is going to have the mindset to do something like that? I think they need to look at post-COVID and what's going to happen, and they're not doing that. And just by what they're doing now with letting people go and being kind of shady about it, and like you said, Caroline, you know, just reinstating full pay to executive positions. I mean, that says pure shade to me, and that's not something I want to be involved with. I'm not going to give my money to a company that does something like that. And I don't know how you guys feel about it. Again, like I said at the beginning, I'm pretty opinionated about stuff like that, but I feel like if you think about it, yeah, I love Disney and what they represent, but what they're doing right now, it's not something that I can get on board with at all.
Definitely. I think that, well, I'll tell you this. When I was still leading orientations for new cast members at my resorts, which was, I guess, 3 years ago now, the statistic from the early 90s was still true that most families save an average of 5 years in order to take a family of 4 trip to Disney.
It's crazy.
However,
it's quickly becoming unattainable for someone that's in the middle class to afford a trip to Disney and you know, do that traditional Disney experience.
And
particularly with the fact that they're now asking you to pay for resort parking, that parking at the parks has gone up so astronomically, and a lot of the, at least during COVID, a lot of the amenities are not available. Like half of the restaurants at resorts aren't open. Some of the entire resorts aren't even open.
Yeah, it's crazy. And they take away the food. The big thing for me was the dining plan. Like, I love that dining plan.
Dining plan.
Yeah, we did that
for right now.
They stay. You stay on property. You don't have to worry about anything. And I'm shocked that they took it away because it doesn't make any sense. Why would they take away the dining plan when it saves people from using cash, using cards, things that create germs, things that, like, why wouldn't they push the dining plan?
So yet another one of my side hustles is being a travel agent, not just for Disney or theme parks, but just kind of in general. And so I have been on the other end of this now, not receiving people doing Disney vacations, but sending them to go on their Disney vacations and planning those things for them. And I had just gone through booking all of the dining reservations for a party of 18 for my mom's boss and his whole family.
Wow.
And 5 kids, 3 generations of this family, all were planning to go for Thanksgiving this year. And they ultimately decided not to go. They're postponing until next year. But I had just gone through booking all of their dining reservations because the window used to be 180 days. Mm-hmm. And then literally a week later, Disney was like, we're getting rid of the dining plan. All dining reservations that aren't 60 days away, we've canceled.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was just annoyed because I had put all this time into it, but they were heartbroken because I had been able to get them at every single one of the restaurants that they had wanted to eat at, like all of these like quintessential Disney experiences. And they were guaranteed them, and then they were pulled out from under them. But from what I know in terms of why they did away with the dining plan, it was because they were so uncertain as to what dining locations would be able to reopen under COVID restrictions and whether or not there would be enough available to people to justify charging as much as they do for the dining plan, because there are, like I said, about half of the restaurants at resorts are still closed. Like Ohana at the Polynesian closed. Kona's open, but it's the only restaurant at Poly that's open. So like you can't get quick service there. And so for a family doing the quick service dining plan, they now can't use that at their resort. They can only use it at a park. And so Disney couldn't justify charging people what they charge for the dining plan because they didn't have the amenities available anymore.
Nah, it really does break my heart when you think about it. It might not be the same as it was, 12
for a
months.
long time.
Yeah, and who knows when it could be back to normal. It's I don't know. I mean, I'm in withdrawal because the last time I went, I was there for a day. We had taken a family trip to Anna Maria Island in Florida, and we drove up for the day because I had to go see the Star Wars stuff. Of course, for a 7-day vacation, I was sick for 4 of them.
Oof.
Oh my goodness.
One of the days was at Disney, and I was completely miserable. I couldn't enjoy myself. I did get to go on the new Star Wars ride, just one. I didn't get to go on Millennium Falcon. I went on the other one. And I was like, all right, no worries. It's fine. I'm sick. But we have reservations for June of 2020 where we're going to go and have a great time. Nope. Pushed it back to August because we thought, all right, we'll push it back to August. Things should be okay. They'll open. Everything will be all right. Nope.
Not in Florida.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm shot. Like, I want to go back, and we tried, but now, I mean, it's tough, and it's just one of those things where now it's like it looks so far away in the distant future to when we can possibly go and be normal again that it who knows what'll be the changes then.
Exactly. But as we slow down, do you guys want to run through what your podcast is about real fast and do some plugins?
Sure.
To recap all the awesome.
All the fabulous things that we've talked about tonight.
Yes.
Nicole, you're better at summarizing than me.
So the Defining Disney podcast is our quest to find objectively what the best Disney animated movie is. So far for season 1, we have had some heavy hitters when it comes to cinematography, overall story, music, theming, continued usage, popularity, and of course, our favorite category, which is going to be quotability factor.
Yes. Sorry.
We're on a mission to be as objective as possible. So some of our favorites might not get the best scoring, and some of the movies that we thought maybe were underdogs are scoring very well. But our goal is to be as objective as possible and then give each movie their due. Our disclaimer at the end of every episode is that just because a movie gets a certain score doesn't mean you must or must not love it. Disney movies are nostalgic and favorites for a reason and are built to pull on those feelings and those heartstrings, and that's okay. But our goal is to find, when we stack each other against our rubric, what the best really is.
So it's just a beautiful announcer voice there. Do you work in weather or where you have to talk?
I do a lot of talking in my line of business, but thankfully not for a whole lot of people to hear. Very good.
I was on a Dateline or some kind of story. I was into it.
So that's what our show is all about. And then just to put a little plug in, of course, we talked about next week we're releasing The Emperor's New Groove, which will be episode 16. That's on Wednesday. And then this coming Thursday, we have our next hashtag DDP Watch Night, which we all get on Twitter at the same time and push play on Disney Plus at the same time and live tweet the next movie we're going to watch for our next episode. So we are watching Three Caballeros this Thursday. It's going to be an adventure because that one is not necessarily a cohesive storyline and also has some significant problems in terms of characters and being more caricatures and not necessarily positive ones. So we're definitely going to talk a lot about that, but we are very much looking forward to our watch night on Thursday. Would love to have everybody join us. We will do several announcements on Twitter. We typically do a Facebook event and invite a bunch of people. So if you see that on our page, reply to it. You don't have to wait for an invite, and we will put all the updates on there. We are also on January 1st launching a Ko-fi membership, which if you know what Ko-fi is, great. If you don't, it's very much like Patreon, except that it has way less cost to us. So positive about that, considering we are independent podcasters. Everything is on our dime. And we will be putting out bonus content every month. We will also have a blooper reel available for anybody who is interested in some behind the scenes. And we are working on several other things, including an exclusive Discord server where you will have access to us at various hours throughout the week. You also may get to sit in on a writing session or even a recording session via audio, which would be pretty cool, I think.
Wow.
And then we're also looking into the possibility of some merch. So stay tuned.
Yes.
Subscribe to our Ohana. If you go to that website, right down there on that banner, definingdisneypodcast.com, there's a button. It says join our Ohana. You should click on it and put in your email because we send a sneak peek calendar every month that includes that month and the next month of content. So you'll see what movies we're working on, what episodes are being published, what days are watch nights. You can use that as your own calendar. You can print it out. It's a PDF, and you can use that as your own calendar, write stuff in around our stuff. You can also get in your email a score-along guide, which is basically a fill-in version of our rubric. So we take a rubric and break it down all the way to like individual points. So we have these 8 categories that Nicole mentioned, and we have between 2 and 4 sub-criteria in each of those categories, and some of them are only worth 1 point apiece. Some of them are worth 7 points. Some of them are worth 10. It just really depends on the category and the criterion. But this score-along guide breaks it all down for you, has examples of the kinds of notes that we make, and has a place for you to make notes. If you then want to share those notes with us, we will then mention them in our episode, and you'll hear them on air.
Wow.
I suddenly feel completely unprepared as a podcast.
You guys should host from now on.
I suddenly feel completely unprepared. That's
Damn.
fantastic. Yeah,
You guys
that's
are
awesome.
No wonder why you guys are great and do well. So organized.
We had a plan that we followed from a content creator that I trust a lot. So we kind of did everything on that plan and then decided we weren't ready to monetize yet when we first started. So we have everything ready for it. It's just kind of been hanging out, like waiting for us to like do the thing.
Nice.
Definitely want some merch. Definitely. So let us know that.
We're looking into some cool castle logos. We're also looking into maybe some stickers and some tote bags with a logo for the movie and then the score next to it and then our logo on the flip side.
That'd be awesome.
So like you can pick your favorite movie and it'll have the score on it and you can brag about how great your favorite Disney movie is because this is how high it objectively scores. And then you can tell people about where it came from.
There you go.
Shout
it's
out.
A well-formulated plan.
Yeah, there's lots of stuff in the works, but we're really excited with the growth that we've had in our first season, and we're really excited to see what 2021 is going to hold for us.
Good things, all good things.
Hopefully, for
2020 may have been rough, but it brought us this show, and for that we're very grateful.
It's got some good things coming out of it. Thank goodness. Thank God. Bounce off
And
the
guys are
pad.
ready for 2010 to be over.
Counting the days. 30 more.
And Dawn, thank you for being a guest host. And why don't you do some plugins for your fabulous
No,
show on Twitch?
I'm not as interesting
I know.
as just said. Like, I feel like I need to like stay up till 4 a.m. and like get working on what I need
Get
to
a
do and get my
calendar.
team together. No, but yeah, definitely check us out. I know you ladies both like sports. Unfortunately, there's a Tampa Bay Lightning fan in our midst. We're not going to say who. We're not going to go there.
Oh, I will.
Hi, both of us.
Oh no,
Awkward.
killing me. But no, you can
Stanley
definitely.
Cup, baby, let's go.
Yeah, don't forget. You do have like half the Rangers on your team, but we're not going to go there.
Oh, we will
Thank you.
fully admit to
Thank
that.
you for that.
Thank you for those.
Rangers South. Here we go. So yeah, you could definitely check us out. We put our episodes out every Monday and every Friday at 11 a.m. This holiday, our episode came out today because it was a holiday, and Carlos and Danny are Cuban, so they're on Cuban time. But you can check us out at Game On Everyone on Twitter and at Game On Sports Podcast on Instagram. We do finally have a merch store where we have some stuff going out on TeePublic. Link is in our bio under our link tree for our merch store. We are on Twitch. Yes, we are gaming now as well. That's a separate little side thing called Gaming with Game On. There is merch for that as well. Having a lot of fun doing it. BriP0e is our number one fan on Twitch. She's always there criticizing everything that we do.
Fired.
Maybe only Carlos. Maybe only Carlos.
Called out.
No, it's all good. We love it. But yeah, no, definitely check us out there. Like I said at the beginning, I'd love to have you guys on, being that you're both sports fans, and Danny and Carlos would love talking to you guys, especially Nicole, since Miami sports all day. So they'll love to do that. But yeah, thank you guys so much. It's been a blast. I love talking Disney. My wife gets sick of hearing it, so it's nice to
I got people to talk to and I get yelled at.
We gotta pick out a movie, have you on for a guest judge sometime.
Yes.
No, absolutely. Just let me know, name, place, time, whatever you need. Bree messaged me yesterday. You want a guest host? Disney. Yeah. Like, cancel all
What
my
time? I didn't even tell him what time. He was like, yeah.
I'll make time.
Yeah, no. But it's been awesome. It was a pleasure talking to you ladies, honestly. Stay safe. It's only 30 days left of 2020. Hopefully it changes at midnight.
We've got a vaccine coming.
And there's no Mortal Kombat voice. There's no Mortal Kombat voice in the background that says round 2 at midnight. So we'll get by that. But yes, thank you. And Bree, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Always like working in conjunction with you. So that's
pretty awesome. Thanks.
I mean, I try. Tell my wife that.
Okay. Your poor wife had to put up your crazy. Thank you so much, Defining Disney, for coming on our podcast. We have just wanted to have you on for the longest time. Like, ever since we had the See Alive with the Spider-Verse for Let's Chat podcast, we just fell in love with you guys.
Aww.
And Chris Revel, I can't even tell you how much he loves you. Like, I get text messages. Those are some good people. I like them. I listened to their show this episode and it was so good. I was like, yeah, I know. I told you. They're real cool. But
thanks, Chris.
This is from Let's Chat Live. It's a branch from Let's Chat Podcast where we interview new and upcoming podcasts, and we just talk about them, what they're about, and we promote them because it's about the little people, and you guys are doing some big things. So I really appreciate you coming on. And Dawn, thank you so much for being a guest host. You're fabulous in all the ways.
Sure.
Even the hat. You have like all the hats.
Hey, she likes my hat.
I like it. It's retro. It reminds me of the really good years.
Back in the day. Pre-COVID. But thank you so much for listening and being part of this. You guys have a great night.
Thanks
Thank
for
you
having
all.
us.
Thank you.